Don't let this picture-perfect colonial in Virginia fool you. According to their oldest son, Nick, behind closed doors, Braulio and Michelle Castillo were struggling to save their marriage.
There were good times, but there were also bad, strained a lot of the time.
It wasn't always that way. Both wanted a big family. They adopted their first 2 children, then had 3 of their own. Together, they ran a highly successful IT business, and thanks to Braulio's status as a wounded veteran, were first in line for lucrative government jobs.
So he's awarded millions and millions of dollars in contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So he lived the life of a millionaire.
He was a millionaire, absolutely.
The money furnished a lavish lifestyle, but it couldn't buy happiness. In April of 2013, Michelle filed for divorce and secured a protective order against Braulio.
Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, sure. Yes, of course I saw that. You know, the yelling, screaming, cursing, directed at her, directed at me.
According to Commonwealth attorneys Alex Ruida and Nicole Whitman, divorce papers allege disturbing behavior.
He locked her in a closet one time for a couple of hours, demanding that he have sex with her.
She was always scared of him, and she told her friends repeatedly, if something happens to me, Braulio's the one that killed me.
The Castillos were married for nearly 18 years, but before the ink on his divorce papers was dry, Castillo had already moved on. He was dating a triathlete. He also moved right down the street from his estranged wife. For her part, Michelle maintained an unbreakable bond with her kids and sought to rebuild her battered self-esteem.
She was the best kind of mom you could think of, right? Somebody who cared about her children, always before everything else, before herself, before anyone.
She, got herself stronger. She was becoming a triathlete. She was becoming stronger in mind. She was becoming stronger in body.
She was just a great person, a caring, loving, joyful person.
So what caused Michelle to fall into such sudden despair that she would take her own life? March 19th, Michelle and Braulio met that afternoon to finalize terms of their divorce.
I know that she was seeking somewhere in the neighborhood of $14,000 to $17,000 a month in child support.
His divorce attorney kept wanting to negotiate as part of the divorce settlement that she withdraw that protective order. She was adamant that that protective order stay in place. And in fact, when he had visitation with the children, he was not allowed to pick them up or drop them off at her house.
That's how dangerous.
That's how dangerous she thought he was, and that's how scared she was of him.
But the court's decision is delayed. Later that evening, Michelle picks up her children from a visit with Braulio.
She was out with her friends celebrating the fact that she had just qualified for the Boston Marathon and had just days before completed running her first triathlon.
Michelle put the kids down for the night, set the security alarm, and went to bed. According to lead investigator Mark McCaffrey, the children woke the next morning and called their father in a panic.
They said, Mom isn't here, we don't know, and they were crying, they were upset, and they were scared.
Because of his restraining order, Braulio asks a neighbor to search the house for Michelle while he takes his kids to school.
So he left, and the neighbor thought this was so odd that the neighbor actually called the police.
Word of Michelle's disappearance reaches oldest son Nick, who's away at college.
But I constantly kept calling because I was informed that somebody couldn't find my mom.